Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this afternoon, court reserves a judgment in Dayton Campbell's challenge to constitutionality of declarations. The government is urging the Constitutional Court to reject Dr. Dayton Campbell's claim against the using states of public emergency in crime fighting, arguing that he has shown no evidence that his rights were violated. Nowhere in the claimant's affidavit is it stated that these declarations have infringed or is likely to infringe his rights or the rights of the Jamaican people, argued Faith Hall, Director of State Proceedings. Hall was arguing yesterday the final of a two-day trial of the constitutional claim brought by Campbell, the General Secretary of the opposition People's National Party. She started out with a preliminary point, asserting that Campbell did not have any legal standing to bring the claim because he did not provide any evidence that his rights were affected or that he lived in any of the SOE areas. The full court, which comprised a three-judge panel of Justices Bertram Morrison, Andrea Pettigrew Collins, and Simone Wolf-Rees, has reserved the judgment. Campbell, in his claim, filed in 2023, is challenging proclamations made by the Governor-General declaring 24 SOEs from January 2018 to November 2023 and their extensions. He argued that the SOEs were not used for the intended purpose under Section 20 of the Constitution and that the proclamations breached the separation of powers principle, asserting that the executive bypassed the Parliament to extend the measures. The SOE is a tool under the Constitution which gives the security force the power to search without a warrant and to detain persons longer than normal. Section 20 allows the Governor-General to declare a state of emergency where action has been taken or is immediately threatened by persons or bodies of persons of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety of the community specified in the schedule. Hall said the government was relying on Deputy Commissioner of Police Clifford Blake, who argued that SOEs were needed to disrupt criminal activity and to restore public safety, as the traditional policing methods were not enough to deal with the country's high levels of crime. The goals of the SOEs were to reduce crime, including murders and shootings, seize illegal weapons and contraband, disrupt gang activity, said Hall in written submissions to the court. She also noted that Prime Minister Andrew Holness told the country that crime was an epidemic and should be treated like other epidemics. However, Campbell's lead attorney at law, King's Counsel Michael Hilton, argued that the government's evidence did not prove that the SOEs were implemented for the purpose stipulated under the Charter of Fundamental Rights and the Freedoms of the Constitution. He also said that the SOE breached several rights and that the government failed to justify those violations. He further argued that the government has used the SOEs to assist in the ongoing fight against the high level of criminal activity, which has been a long-standing problem in Jamaica. However, Hilton, while acknowledging that the country has a serious crime problem which has been intolerably high for far too long, said that the SOE is not the answer to the remedial action that is urgently required. He said the fundamental question is whether the country's crime problem by itself constitutes a sufficient basis for the declaration of a state of public emergency. Is the government permitted to take that draconian step which ushers in wholesale curtailment of the civil liberties so jealously guarded by the new Charter of Fundamental Rights and the Freedoms for no purpose other than combating Jamaica's long-standing, unduly high rate of violent crime? Hilton asked. The lawyer also challenged some of Blake's assertions, including that there were a sharp decrease in murders and shootings during a period in which an SOE was in force compared to when the measure was not in effect. This amounts to an attempt at ex post facto justification, or to put it another way, an assertion that the end justifies the means. Such a justification is not within the spirit of the requirement for demonstrable justification or even reasonable justification, Hilton said. He also said the most striking thing about Blake's evidence was that it does not purport to set out the action which satisfied the Governor General that each state of public emergency had arisen. It describes in very general terms the high rate of crime in various areas, noting that the Constitution was changed in 2011 to make it harder for the executive to extend the SOEs without the opposition's support. Hilton argued that the Holness administration used the rolling SOEs to keep the measures in place. Under the Constitution, an SOE can be declared for 14 days in the first instance. However, any extensions require a two-thirds majority in each of the two houses of Parliament. He said at least 4 of the SOEs that were reimposed in the same areas shortly after the 14 days expired had the obvious effect of circumventing and preventing Parliament from having a say in whether the wholesale curtailment of fundamental rights and freedoms were to be extended beyond the shortened initial period of 14 days. However, the government is dismissing that argument, saying there were no extensions as each SOE ended before new ones were declared. There can be no extension of a period if the period comes to an end, Hall said in court documents. Hall insisted that the Governor General acted in accordance with the Constitution in issuing the SOE proclamation and that there were no infringement of the separation of powers. Attorneys Dwayne Allen, Alexis Robinson, and Dania Allen also appeared along with Hilton, while Matthew Gabidon also represented the Attorney General's chambers. More than $1 billion in drug and lottery scam proceeds recovered in last 4 years. The Financial Investigations Division is reporting that the state has collected more than $1 billion following the forfeiture of assets and cash from people convicted for drug trafficking and lottery scamming. FID says it has achieved significant victories in its relentless pursuit of financial criminals, securing the forfeiture and the pecuniary penalty orders against the drug traffickers and the lottery scammers over the period June 2020 to August 2024. Through 25 narcotics-related cases and 17 lottery scamming cases, investigators uncovered substantial financial benefits derived from criminal activities, totaling Jamaican $801 million and US $112,000 for drug trafficking, and a further $331 million Jamaican dollars and US $347,000 for lottery scamming activities. During the period, the court adjudicated 8 narcotics-related matters, resulting in forfeiture or pecuniary penalty orders being granted against the defendants in the amounts of nearly 900 million Jamaican dollars. Meanwhile, the court has settled 7 lottery scamming matters, resulting in forfeiture or pecuniary penalty orders being granted against the defendants in the amounts of Jamaican $32 million and US $71,000. Principal Director of Financial Crimes Investigations Branch, Keith Darian, attributed the success to the dedication of local investigators and the strategic partnerships with international law enforcement agencies. 2 men in custody over alleged goat theft in St. Catherine. 2 men are in custody at the Guanaboa Vale Police Station in St. Catherine after they were caught transporting goats suspected to be stolen. Reports say that at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, cops signaled the men, each driving a Toyota Probox, to stop. They complied and the vehicles were searched. During the search, a goat was found in one of the cars while 3 goats were in the other. The drivers were taken into custody and their vehicles seized. Investigation continues as the police try to find the owners of the animals. Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.